is Tom really setting the stage for him to go in there and try and destroy the New England Patriots to show them that you could have had this. But this guy was so arrogant, his ego so big, that he couldn't coexist and give me my due.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us on the Goodyear Hotline. Tom Brady does not return to New England, and still till next week. And still, the story of this week is Brady versus Belichick somehow, right? Like
you're skipping past the Rams, right?
We're already living for.
You're skipping past the Rams and you're skipping past the Saints as far as New England goes.
No doubt. By the way, I think the Saints in New England is a huge game for Belichick. That's the type of game that the Patriots always win. 1-1 season, Saints coming off it. You win that game if you're Belichick. Do you still? That's a big question. And then I agree with you, too, about the Rams. I think I'm leaning towards taking the Rams in that game. I think those are – but somehow this Brady returning to New England is such a big story in spite of those games.
You need 2 weeks to get it in.
You need 2 weeks to get it in. That's right. It's like the Super Bowl. They give you 2 weeks. This is what Tom Brady's –
By the way, for the Bucs-Rams, the line was like 1.5 yesterday. It's -1 now for Tampa Bay.
So what does that mean?
That means that Vegas is actually starting to think that the Rams have a legit chance to.
Or bettors are starting to bet the line down.
Yeah.
Put more money on who?
On the Rams. They're saying, this is a good value, and they start to bet it to the Rams.
It is a good value. Yeah. I picked it.
Okay.
So listen, Tom Brady's personal assistant, Alex Guerrero, everyone knows TB12 and all that stuff, right, told the Boston Herald, and I quote, "It was like Bill never really, I think his emotions or feelings never evolved with age. As Tom got into his late 30s or early 40s, I think Bill was still trying to treat him like that 20-year-old kid that he drafted. And all the players, I think, realized Tom was different. He's older, so he should be treated differently. And all the players, none of them would have cared that he was treated differently. I think that was such a Bill thing. He never evolved. So you can't treat someone who's in his 40s like they're 20. It doesn't work." Your Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless from Tom Brady himself in response.
Everyone has, protective feelings and emotions as friends and family members, and that's just part of being in sports. And you have a lot of people who, they're not out there, they want to protect, and it's a very caring, loving thing that a lot of people do. But, from my standpoint, I had a great time. But really, my focus has been on trying to be the best I could be for this team and trying to go out and be a winning quarterback, be a championship-level quarterback for this team and this organization, because they certainly deserve it. And, I made a commitment to them, and I want to live up to it.
Absolutely.
That's Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. But was that straight talk? That talk was a little crooked, a little bent.
That was page 4 out of the Tom Brady leadership book.
I would say his trainer, Alex Caruso. Guerrero.
Yeah.
Alex syllables.
Because you think about your Lakers.
Caruso,
you think about your Lakers,
Guerrero,
I'm thinking Alex. Hoops. Alex Guerrero, his trainer, is speaking how Tom felt. Even if Tom gave him the floor to speak on his behalf or whatever the case is, and I clearly understand where Brady would be coming from on feeling a certain way. It's hard for me to believe after 20 years, Tom Brady didn't get any wiggle room at all in New England. Did he get as much as he wanted? Probably not. But you can't tell me in 20 years that Tom Brady didn't get any wiggle room.
So it seems to me, let me see if I'm getting this straight. What Guerrero is saying may be an accurate reflection, and I think it's an accurate reflection of how Tom Brady feels, right? But as far as like there are feelings, someone perceives a situation, then there's the reality of the situation. And you're saying he may have felt that way, and maybe Belichick could have done more, but it's hard for you to believe that Belichick didn't evolve at least in that direction a bit, right? It's hard to believe that.
What do you want? You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't go into specifics. He just said treat it like he's 20 years old. What was it? Hey, come on time. Make sure you're lifting weights. What are we talking about?
I think there's Jay, I think there's a certain tone. Like if you enter a relationship with someone, like an older person, right? Any kind of mentor type, whatever it is, it's at a certain point, sometimes there comes to a point, this can happen with a parent or an older sibling or whatever, where you're like, hold up, I'm a man now, or I'm in a different phase of life now. You're still talking to me like it was in the beginning, but it's not the beginning anymore.
Well, obviously, Tom expressed his frustrations about that for 18 months. He kind of talked about it, right? It is interesting on Alex Guerrero, though, because there's a lot of history there. Bill Belichick banned him from the team playing. Actually didn't give him credentials to be on the sideline anymore. So it seems like there was a rift there between, and also he was not only his trainer, he was his business partner and a couple of different things too. So, that relationship seems like it was a little bit tethered to a degree.
Let's not forget, the reporting at least was that players on the team, when they had an issue or they wanted to, were going to TB12, right, Keith?
Yeah, they're going to TB12 to get looked at, checked out, worked out, whatever the case is, instead of using the advice of the actual physical trainers that are in the part of the New England Patriots. But it's just, I want to know, what is it that TB12 is looking for? Like, when you say he was treating him like what? Because there's only so much treatment you could do to a professional athlete as a coach. Hey, you can't go home and we're on a road trip. We want you to fly back with us. We're not giving you an extra room. You don't have this time. Like, what was it that made him feel that way?
The lack of avocados, probably, You go to Guerrero's bringing the avocados,
But wait, Keith, you've been with Bill. And I think we saw Bill Belichick really adjust and adapt, right, this past offseason with all the free agent acquisitions that he made.
He had to.
Yeah, he had to. He was forced to. Well, that's a great point by you. Has he always adapted? Or has it kind of been, hey, this is the way it is when you're part of my team. This is what our winning formula is, and we're not changing it for anybody.
I don't, as far as his concept of the way they go about winning, it's pretty much all been the same. But from a personal standpoint, he is who he is, right? I don't think he's going to change to the degree that people probably would want him to. When you are 40 years old, Max, or not even 40, when you are a veteran player in the league, through my experience as being coached by 4 different head coaches or 5 different head coaches in my tenure, every single head coach treated players differently. Mm-hmm. Bill Parcells, I had him when I was young, had him when I was older. He treated me even when I was younger the same as when I was older. When I had Tony Dungy, he treated me different than he treated some of the other players because he knew, okay, Key needs, this is what he needs.
More than one way to get it done because he's a great head coach.
Key wants to go home on a Monday and fly back on a Wednesday, not a problem. So it's all different. Where Gruden said, no, he has to stay and work out with everybody. Totally different. How did that work out?
Right. Well, in the end, you do measure the results. That's Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. We're going to ask Rob Ninkovich about this when he joins us at 7:30. It's, not a little over an hour from now. We'll talk to Nink about it. He has experience, obviously, with Belichick and Brady. Plus the Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard at 8:30, brought to you by Barbasol Shaving Cream. Barbasol comes out thick and rich, doesn't break down. That's why Barbasol is America's #1 shaving cream. Close shave, America. Close shave Barbasol. Week 3 in the NFL is filled with young quarterbacks going head-to-head, including an NFL debut. That's after Key has this from Indeed.
Running